Now I'm going to open the editor window again to demonstrate something called FlexTime. I want to get that vintage guitar sound back again. I'm going to go ahead and solo that so that we'll be able to hear it. And I'm going to add to that the drum so we can tell where the rhythm is. I'm going to solo that as well so you can hear when it plays. You'll be able to hear only the drums and the lead instrument. So there's a couple of things that you can do with it here. If you'll notice my mouse pointer, when it's down in this area, it turns into a vertical line with a couple of funny looking arrows on either side of it. We're going to click right here when that guitar first comes in. We're going to click right there and we get a new kind of a playhead that's got a little X at the top. And we can either compress that, if we can get there, or we can expand that waveform to make it sound different. Let's compress it a little bit here. We're essentially moving it back off of the beat. And then we're going to take this one right here and we're going to move it up a little bit. Once again, you'll be able to hear the difference when it's played with the drums. You'll be able to tell that the rhythm has changed a little bit. Let's see what that sounds like. Could you hear that? This was just the very beginning of it that changed. So if we go through and undo what we did, just undo, move, FlexTime, edit, and then we'll have to do that, undo, create, FlexTime, edit. We'll have to do that again. And we'll have to do that yet one more time because we did a couple of different edits there. So you can go back and progressively undo what you did by just hitting edit, undo over and over. Now that's what it's supposed to sound like. That's the way it was originally. One of the other fun things we can do with FlexTime is we can cut, copy, and paste. For example, we have this empty measure here at the first of the song, which I guess was a count off, but we are going to put an intro in there. Let's go down here to our vintage instrument we're editing. If you notice, when your pointer gets below the center, it turns into an X. So the X is the way you select regions. If we're going to click on that X, you'll see all of a sudden it gets dark. And we're going to click right on the beginning of measure 2. And we're going to go all the way back right to the very end of measure 2. Then we're going to go up to where it says edit, and we're going to copy. Command C would do the same thing there. Now we're going to go all the way back to the very, very beginning of this, and we're going to edit, and we're going to paste. Now you'll see that all of a sudden this has popped up in a place where there was no previous note. Now let's take this all the way back and play it, and you'll hear that we now have an intro that we have just added. How cool is that? There are a couple of other really basic editing techniques that we don't need the editing window for, so we're going to close that just to get it out of the way. The first one is moving regions of a track, and that's easy to do. You can just pick whichever one you want to move. Let's move this one for right now. Just click on it, put your mouse pointer on it, and then click again, and you can move it further up or further back. You can move it anywhere that you so desire to move it. You can also trim it. If you put your mouse pointer right at the very first of it, you'll see that little, I don't know what that is, a weird kind of a line with arrows on it. You can move it in, and that will trim the front of it, front of your track. Or you can do the same thing at the back end, and you can trim the end of it. The really cool thing, though, is instead of copying and pasting, which of course you can do, if you go to the upper right-hand corner of it, you'll see a little circular arrow which represents loop. If you click there and move to the right, it will keep copying that track over and over and over again. So that's a look at editing in GarageBand. Some of these tricks you'll never use, some of them you'll use a lot. It just depends on what you do and how often you do it. So practice them and enjoy them.